Hello, true duelists. I'm starting out today's update with a bit of a heavier topic. Typically, I don't like to cover heavier or serious things on the update because this is meant to be me shitposting more than an actual, proper news series or whatever. Regardless, I am a silly man and I like to keep it lighthearted, so I tend to avoid heavier topic things. But this is something I don't really think I can get around because it directly pertains to the winner of the YCS that I report on in this video. So can't really mention one without the other, in my opinion. If you aren't aware, Chris Leblanc won YCS Lyon. He won his 5th YCS, and it's a big old congratulations in the Yu-Gi-Oh player sense. The problem is, if you've been on Twitter or if you aren't aware, Chris Leblanc has been accused of sexually and physically abusing an ex-girlfriend. Now, if I'm going to report this in a news sense, I guess I say allegations. I choose to believe his ex in this for whatever that is worth. But really, there was a twit longer made some weeks ago wherein she highlighted some of the things that he would force her to do, things he would break, just be overall a shitty boyfriend. And that's even his words, not mine, because in Chris's response to all of this, he said that he did not hit her, which I believe. She's not said that he hit her. He has said he did not hit her. I don't think the physical abuse pertained to physically hitting her. I think it meant breaking things, throwing things, being physically abusive at her, but not on her, if that can make sense. And then he wrapped it up by saying, I was a shitty boyfriend and I can't wait to make content. Which, it's so bad I laugh at it because what the fuck kind of response is that? If you are being accused of being that shitty of a person and your end of it is a plug to a YouTube channel, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's just my take on being a decent person. Still, this led to a large swath of things happening, including the deletion of Source Gaming, his, promotional management team's Twitter account. It's a whole lot of nonsense that isn't particularly important in the grand scheme of the nitty-gritties, if you ask me. What's important here is that Chris Leblanc is not necessarily the best kind of person to be at the top of the community and praised. This is a person who admits to being a shitty boyfriend, and the accusations are physical and sexual abuse. So I'm getting that out of the way now. I don't remember if I said congrats to him or not. I don't believe I did, but if I mentioned it, know that I'm not saying this as an endorsement or a propping up of the guy. Sure, I'd like to have faith that he could change and grow as a person. He just needs to put in the effort and showcase doing so. As I make this video, that has not been the case if you ask me, but I'm just getting it out there. That's what's up in regards to the top. That's the news, as it were. Now, I filmed this at the very end of my filming of this video, so I'm putting it at the beginning, but you're going to see a rapid and quite jarring tonal whiplash as you go into upbeat, jovial Craig Fee just doing the update, but I felt that this was important enough to include. So there it is. You can make your own decisions. You can decide for yourself. I'm not I'm not an authority figure. This just felt important enough to include. So that is what's up in regards to that. Here comes the update. Enjoy hope your neck is stationary. This is some serious fucking whiplash. Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh update. It was a big weekend this past week with 2 separate YCSs as well as the second of the Master Circuit series on Master Duel for God's chosen people, according to Mormons, I guess. It's for North Americans. North America being a little bit more diverse than Mormons typically. But still, it's disrespectful to Europeans as long as we ignore the fact that European laws exist. For the YCSs, these were the last events held under the previous format's ban list. The one where Macrocosmos going to 3 did nothing. So let's take a look at the end of the Tier 0/Tier 0 format, a joke that only really works when read as opposed to being heard. I do know what I'm doing, believe it or not. YCS Lyon was a standard YCS, if I can say that, being a single-player tournament, whereas the Team YCS in Mexico City was a Team YCS. Lyon had the tops we expected from the format, only now with the addition of Kashtira as a deck. And actually Labyrinth as well, but I'll get into that in a little bit. To no one's surprise, Tirshizu still was the deck to play, making 51% of top cut in top 64, on par with previous events from the format. And while Kashtira got 30% of tops, more than any other deck could previously, the fact that Tiers consistently maintained 50% or so in previous events hints that the deck may not have been as impactful against Tiers as some players may have thought or been worried. Beyond that, Spright, Fluwanderees, and oddball/newcomers, Subterror, and Labyrinth all made top 64. Can you imagine if like Guru Control had won the last YCS of tier format? That would have been fucking funny. Still, with the finals being a tier mirror, I have little to say about this that hasn't already been said. Tirshizu was a crazy deck. We all know that. More notable are the Kashtira builds, where the best builds are being figured out. Kashtira's biggest problem going into the newest format is that it's a bit hard to build a consistent end board to counter all of the possible disruptions that it can come up against. Jesse Cotton in particular had a great video going over this, talking about how a board that plays around, say, Lava Golem could struggle to play around something like Book of Eclipse. And there's also the fact that Cash as a deck is just weaker to hand traps compared to Tirshizu has been this past format, and as such, we can probably expect Ash Blossom to once again rear its big ass fucking forehead into this game. I'm sure casual players will be delighted to hear that. Especially in Cash, as Ash is actually a solid out to one of the best outs to Kashtira, being Book of Eclipse. Gotta love how we've got counters for our counters for our counters. Fucking love Yu-Gi-Oh! There's also not just the new Kashtira cards, but there's big welcome Labyrinth, which seemed posed to help bring Labyrinth into some sort of tiered relevance. And special mention actually goes out to Herman Hansen's build, running a small Labyrinth package alongside Floodgates, like Skill Drain and Goes and Match and Necro Valley. So yeah, I can't wait to see that deck coming. That's a great thing to welcome into the format. The deck is actually especially interesting though for its extra deck, playing multiple cards it just doesn't use at all as cherries targets, and I guess to confuse the shit out of players, because Kashtira might look at your extra deck and yoink something out of it, and if I look at a Labyrinth deck and I see 5 Madolche cards, I'm confused as shit. I'm told he'll explain it after YCS Vegas this coming weekend, but until then, as far as I can tell, that's cherries and a mindfuck, which is pretty based. And lastly from Lyon, in my opinion, is the use of triple tactics thrust in some decks. Thrust is kind of insane as a card, if you ask me. What could possibly go wrong giving players access to any spell or trap card in the game? Well, fucking everything. The core of Kashtira and most decks of the format are pretty settled, and Thrust seems primed to be a card to make a multitude of cards not just playable, but reliable. You ashed me? Dimensional Barrier on your turn. Fuck you. Oh, you used Nibiru on me? I'm getting talents, your nib, my token, any link to I want. You know, that can use those materials. Still, this makes a whole lot of cards that have otherwise been balanced in part by their insearchability to become more obnoxious, and both I and my wallet am scared. You know who else is scared though? The judge who showed Dueling Book on stream at YCS Lyon. Yes, in round 6 feature match depicting ninjas as a deck, which is based, there was a moment where the player needed to read a translated version of a card, and of all places the card text could be found, Dueling Book was used. Not Neuron, the official TCG app, not on a Wikia page, fucking Dueling Book. On mobile, on someone's phone. There is no way that was the most efficient way to get that in front. I refuse to believe that. I'm glad it happened, but no shot was that the easiest way. And if you want to know what Konami's response was to seeing the forbidden game that they don't acknowledge on their stream, they deleted the VOD of the match from the stream, and they pulled down the original upload of that stream from their YouTube, removed the section that showed Dueling Book, and then re-uploaded it with just a cut. Whoops. That's just some fun shit at the event. As for YCS Mexico City, the Team YCS, it's pretty well much of the same. Just less Dueling Book, at least on stream. No, this was a 3-man event, meaning it was up to your team to beat out other teams. So you didn't just have to beat Jeff Jones, you needed to beat Jeff Jones, Bodum Temnik, and Ryan Levine. You can do it. Go ahead, have fun. For this event, I won't lie, I've been struggling to find a little bit of information on the event at large in terms of all the deck lists and things, because each team has the team and 3 players, and there's a lot more to it that I wasn't prepared for, so I apologize for that. I can tell you that the winners of the event were Team Donald Fan Club, comprised of Christian Urena playing Tierlements, Arnold Nadaban on Tierlement, and Walter Jewell on, you're not going to believe this, Tierlement. What format was this played under again? Yeah, we all know. Congrats go out to these 3, and with that we have an end to the Tierlements format. Tierlements won out 8 of the 9 YCSs where it was the best deck, if I'm not mistaken, with the only non-tier win under this format going to the Remote Duel YCS Latin America with a Spright deck. So, hell of a format. We've got the end of another Tier 0 meta. My god. I'm sure the next one's just like 8 months away. Looking forward to the new format. It seems like it'll be interesting. Spright without Elf, Tierlements with no Kit Kalos, and Cash Tira players with no money left. It'll be neat to see how decks adapt, evolve, and what techs end up seeing a rise in play. Could Grave Creeper's Inscription, I didn't say that right, could Grave Creeper's Inscription end up being a power card of the format that we just slept on these 2 events? Will Thrust be as good as I think it'll be? Or will it just be a side deck card? What else might show itself to be the new thing that casuals just can't afford? We'll find out next weekend, or at least we'll get a taste of it, when the Team YCS Las Vegas is set to take place, and I'll be able to report on those on next week's update. There was also the Master Circuit Series Round 2 this past weekend, and before I get into that, I'll make a small correction to last week's update, wherein I reported that I Wish I Was Dead won the event when it was actually a player who goes by Tyrese. Apologies for fucking lying, but in my defense, I'm an idiot, and also, it would have been really cool if a guy who goes by I Wish I Was Dead was the winner. Maybe that's just me. Either way, congrats to Tyrese, and congrats this week go out to the MathMech player himself, one Wired Dragon. So, MathMech's good in Master Duel, it would seem. Crazy how board building decks can do well. It's just unfathomable. On to this series in general, however, the event showed that its meta is much like the Master Duel meta in general, a fucking mutt pile of nonsense since it's a best of 1 and Max C as a card. There are still the best decks. There's no surprise that Sword Soul is a most represented in top 16 with 6 tops. MathMech getting 4 tops isn't a surprise, it's a good deck and a bit of a fan favorite, and Branded Despia even got 2, with 1 apiece tops going out to Thunder Dragon, Adignister, Traptrix, and Zombie. My god. I don't have too much else to report on because I missed the event live. I apologize for that, but still it's an interesting showcase of just what's potential in Master Duel really. The fact that Zombies and Traptrix can be a viable deck because Traptrix doesn't have the newest support that it's about to get in the TCG. You can do well. Just open Max C. That's what I choose to believe is the real powerhouse of these decks winning, but who knows? Maybe Zombie is more competent than people give it credit for. Copium. In other Master Duel news, 2 neat things have happened. Or 1 neat thing and 1 terrible thing, depending on who you ask. In banlist news, Master Duel has released Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos to 1, and a move that's a first for Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. Master Duel has taken a card off the ban list before either the OCG or the TCG. Now, it's not a huge move. Plenty of people, including myself, feel that Blaster could easily come to 1 in the current format with no real significant impact. But it is neat to see how much these 3 formats now are going to be affecting each other's decisions. We've already seen, Infernity... Oh, I forget the name of it. Oh no, Launcher. Infernity Launcher coming off the list in the OCG and then reflected in the Master Duel meta. So maybe it'll happen in the TCG. Maybe all the combined ban list enthusiasts will get their world they want. Or Konami will continue to have staggered releases and we'll never get that. Who knows? We'll find out. And the other cool thing that happened to Master Duel, Spright is now in Master Duel. That deck was tier 0 in the OCG when it debuted, at least for a brief amount of time, and for Master Duel, there's no tier limits to toy with to try and compete. And with the power level that Power of the Elements and Spright and Tiers have brought, it seems Spright with Max C will be the deck to play in Master Duel, so I hope you like that, because you're going to be facing it. And it'll be the new Master Circuit Series deck I talk about next week, probably. So, better save up those Ultra Rare points, friends. You're going to need them. In community news, there's some good stuff, I suppose. Yes, I'm here to say that it is good that Konami representative Douglas Dzeef is not making videos anymore. I don't want to see his videos anymore because he's taken time off to, recoup mental health, and that's a good thing. You shouldn't force yourself to make anything if you don't want to do it. Mental health breaks are a good thing. We all know that. What the fuck else is new, okay? It's a good thing he's doing that, genuinely, and it's been met with positive reactions from the community, which is bueno. You like to see it. Burnout's a thing, especially in content creation. So taking time to refocus and enjoy on life. Have I said it's good yet? Content's more enjoyable when the creator's having fun and enjoying it anyway. So for him personally, it's good. And for us as an audience, it'll be good as well. So cool to that. This script makes a joke about teach me how to Dougie, and fuck that. I'm not saying that. So with all that said and done, the sponsor. Thank you, as always, this week goes out to LIFD for the sponsorship. The magnetic display is a safe, great, and damn cool way to display your favorite cards, if I say so myself. And if you would like to find a way to support the channel, display some of your favorite cards, or have a great time tracking a shipment online and being like, oh boy, it's gonna get here, and get the dopamine rush from a package arriving, you can do all 3 by using promo code YGOStrats15 at checkout or by clicking the link in the description. Thank you as always to LIFD for the support, and thank you for watching. As always, I've been your host, Craig Fee, and make sure you subscribe to YGO Strats for next week's update to impress your smoking Italian wife, and so you too can be a true duelist.